Since someone asked about all my deck lists, I decided to post a video about my deck list. This one is the first one I've ever used. Well, not first one I ever used, but the first one I made fully. It is a copy and paste for someone else's Sprite Twins deck list. I personally fell in love with this. It is very fun and very much explains my controlling strategy. There's a few things I did to touch it up to make it more my style. A few things such as addition of traps. And as you can tell, we have a lot of ways. If I were to go back to this deck, I'd probably find more. Take out like Ghost Spell and Veiler and put in more ways to search for the Live Twin cards, as well as I would also update it for the modern ban list because I have not updated this deck in a long time. The next deck list is all about Evil Eye. Evil Eye is probably the deck I'm most known for. It's the one that everyone seems to view. It is my favorite one after all, and as you can tell, it is very bricky. There are multiple ways to get to the cards I want, however, there is also a high possibility that I will draw the cards I'm trying to search later. And of course, these cards can just be used for fodder later, however, this does lead to hands that involve equip spells that I don't want in my hands. I'd much rather have Unleashed in my hand. So we have multiple ways to search, we have multiple ways to do it. I don't play Tour Guide because Tour Guide does not let me get to the cards I want. It would only let me get to Jaja, at which point I can just get to the Zeus line. That's fine and all, but it's not great. Next is my Rescue Ace deck. My Rescue Ace deck is all about trying to get Hydrant out, so Hydrant can search Turbulence, and so I can gain the benefits of both. Both are very important to the strategy, and of course it is all about recursion in multiple ways. Because of this, we are playing certain cards you may not find, such as Durandal or Diabellstar. Diabellstar is just purely a consistency tool, and will act as those ways to get rid of. This is after my Durandal package has been removed for other stuff, because Durandal is just a little bit too bricky for our liking. Next, let's discuss about the duels themselves. These are all going to be Rescue Ace duels within old package that I've used, but I also haven't returned to this game much frequently, so I am currently down in fucking bronze. We start off with Rhoda for Impulse, Airlifter out for Emergency, Emergency for Hydrant. Hydrant effect for Turbulence. Turbulence is going to come out, we banish the obvious too. With Turbulence out, we will get our 4 sets, so it's always going to be the same 4 every time. You won't be surprised about it at all. Hydrant effect will let us use one of our set cards right away. We go into Alert, go into Fire Attacker, and then End Phase. The reason why is because Impulse will get us one machine monster, and Fire Attacker will summon based off that. Impulse for Preventer. We will also be using the card that they target in order to contain their monster. This will make sure their search goes, well, their pop is dead, but I can use it later. Fire Attacker comes out, so anything they add to their hand will be added to allow me to draw. We use 1 Ash Blossom because we have 2 in hand, and why not? This should stop their combo. Since it's our turn, we drew our, well, unfortunately we drew another hand trap. However, we can extinguish one of their monsters, use HQ, get Impulse into our hand with Hydrant, Turbulence to fetch out another 4 of them. If I was smart, I would be getting Emergency with one of these and using it this turn, but you will see. With HQ, we will put back 4 cards, draw 1. Damage Seal's always nice to have. Go in. Oh no, Metal Reflect Slime. Fire Attacker. Like I said, if I was smart, I could have used Emergency this turn to get another card. Battle phase. Drowning! Okay, so I walked into that. However, we do have ways around it. and they have solid different. Okay, so that makes it a little easier for us to kill them, but it's still a pain in the butt. The good news is that due to the fact that we have a bunch of set cards already, we can use that to our advantage. I can get Turbulence back out, we can banish 3 as soon as we get 3 in there. It's time to use our spell cards to our advantage. Preventer effect. Turbulence effect. And then we move on to recycle. And then draw. Airlifter is going to be great. Why did I put these in defense mode? Even I don't know. Now, I will admit this is a more basic style of Rescue Ace because I didn't want to link off into other, mostly Promethean Princess. Thankfully, they played into another Ash Blossom, which I had from turn 1, but you can see that I still have 5 cards in hand and full back row. This deck can become insane in the long run. Now it's time to finish the duel. After all, they only have 1 set card. We put everything in attack. Gamma Seal comes out, and then we battle. And with that, Preventer ends us the duel. And with that, we get to walk away with a victory from an admittedly really good hand. This next duel is all about the Jack-o'-lanterns and all about the pain you can have. This hand, garbage. Absolute trash. You can't do anything with it. You set 2 and pass. And apparently we're dealing with the Vernisylphs. Essentially, it's just Vernisylphs. We Ash Blossom the 1, they will do it again with a different Vernisylph card. I will be sad, and we will move on to Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave will thankfully stop this in its tracks. And with only 2 cards left in their hand, we can be a little bit afraid, because we don't know if they have another set of Vernisylphs, they can still go off. Thankfully, it's the end phase, we get Emergency, and they Ash Blossom. Okay, well that baits out the Ash, thankfully. Now that is our turn, we pray for something good. That is not something good. We will be setting 1 emergency and see what happens. After all, if they get started doing anything on their next turn, we will be able to Lightning Storm it. They don't do anything. We emergency again, try to get something out and get out Fire Attacker. And Fire Attacker, Fire Engine. Thankfully, we got something that can revive from the graveyard. We get out our Fire Engine and smack him in the face, setting Lightning Storm in case our Fire Engine dies. Now this seems desperate because the only thing they're doing is setting a card and passing. However, thanks to our magnificent draw of Raigeki, we get to now rain lightning down onto their monsters and send them to the graveyard. Thankfully, it's just another Earth monster, and we move on. Oh no, another Vernisylph card! Oh no, Ash Blossom! Unfortunately, Ash Blossom does stop a lot of this deck. So, the good news is that we had all the tools to stop them from playing. The bad news is that it took us a long time to draw a single card that could work. Hey, a card that can work! And with that, the game is over this turn, thankfully, because they should not have anything. This is why you need more why I need to add more consistency to these decks, but I'm also not exactly smart enough to add it. Thinking about it, I could always just change from phone format, because I do record these on my phone, to PS4, because I now have a capture card, as people on my channel have seen. So I could always change to that. I would just need to transfer the data, and I don't know if I want to do that, because I rarely play as is. Unfortunately, we're dealing with Blue Eyes, where the only thing we set was Called by the Grave. me seeing that they normal summoned and that they're trying to cheat out a Blue Eyes, I'm like, well, this is probably the best since Linkuriboh is banned at this point. Now that it is our turn, we can... well, that's not a good draw. Thankfully, Darendale's in our hand. Back when we had Darendale in the deck, we used Darendale to get Airlifter. Airlifter comes out, and we move on to get Emergency. From here, it is full combo, because even though Preventer is in our hand, we can get Hydrant, we can get Turbulence, we can start searching. There's lots of things you can do. Honestly, I probably should have searched before using Turbulence, but that's fine. It's not like any of these is a native draw. They're all searches. From here we grab Fire Attacker because right now we're going to be banishing that spell card. Preventer comes out, Fire Attacker comes out, Battle. Unfortunately, he does get a Blue Eyes, but let's see if he even has time to use it. Imagine you do math this perfectly, only 300 off. Give me that egg, and I'll gladly hit you in the face for it, with it. I won't lie, the FTK potential with this deck is fun and fantastic. This is not a good hand though. This hand is actually good at breaking boards. Thankfully we're not going, oh, that's Nurse FTK. Unfortunately, they're using a bunch of effects that allows them to draw cards. Thankfully not at the cost of my life points. And thankfully we also have Imperm in case they decide to eat it like that. We use Imperm so how they can help us gain life points instead of lose them. Thankfully they just keep drawing cards. Unfortunately we didn't have Ash Blossom or Droll Mockbird, otherwise we probably use it by now. Thankfully they also hurt themselves a lot. And they just keep giving me more and more life points. Look at that. Unfortunately, they also sit down a lot back row, and you will notice back row is what hurts this deck the most. If you are able to remove back row or have back row of your own, we have a problem. Now, the other good news is that I stopped the Nurse FTK earlier, so how I can use this. With this, I was able to outlive, otherwise I would have died during the standby phase. We use Gamma Seal, Emergency, thankfully we have Impulse in our hands, so we can just get rid of it with that. Hydrant will start off our combo. You can start rolling out. We can get everything that we need. Now we use a Raigeki to clear out Gamma Seal. Battle. Unfortunately, we are unable to kill this turn, and that's what they think. It's time to use their own monster against them. They got rid of it after all. As you can tell, I love using people's monsters against them.